Module 7, Objective 6, compare the organization of the autonomic nervous system with that of the somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system operates under conscious control, and when you think about the somatic nervous system, you should always consider or think about skeletal muscles. In addition, it seldomly affects long-term survival. The autonomic nervous system operates without conscious control, and here you should think cardiac and smooth muscle. Autonomic nervous system controls visceral effectors, and it helps coordinate a lot of your organ systems, such as the cardiovascular, respiratory, and digestive systems. Here we see an image that summarizes the two divisions. We see that the somatic nervous system begins all the way up here in the primary motor cortex. And from that, conscious decisions will be passed to affect skeletal muscle. So the effectors of the somatic nervous system are largely skeletal muscles. Meanwhile, on the autonomic nervous system side, that signal initiates within the brain stem, and from there, you're going to affect the visceral effectors such as the smooth muscles, the glands, and the cardiac muscle. So again, autonomic nervous system outside of conscious control. Since we're not starting up at the cerebrum, we have no awareness of that. We don't have to continually instruct our heart to beat or the smooth muscles of our digestive tract to propel food through it. It's done autonomically or automatically. Of the autonomic nervous system, we have two divisions. We have the sympathetic division and the parasympathetic division. The sympathetic division handles our fight or flight mode. It helps prepare the body to deal with emergencies, and we're going to see that it increases alertness, our metabolic rates, as well as our muscular abilities. Meanwhile, the parasympathetic division operates during times of rest. So it's often referred to as the rest and digest mode. And during parasympathetic activation, we get a conservation of energy. Sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions usually have opposing effect. If the sympathetic speeds up the heart rate, the parasympathetic is going to slow down the heart rate. While they may work independently, often the sympathetic and parasympathetic work in tandem or in conjunction with one another. Some of our responses to sympathetic activity, we have heightened mental alertness, increased metabolic rates, we get a reduced digestive and urinary functions, we activate our energy reserves, we increase our respiratory rate as well as the diameter of our respiratory passageways. We increase our heart rate and blood pressure, and we activate sweat glands. Think about sympathetic activation when you get excited, when your body's entering into a fight or flight mode. And you need to consider why. So why do we activate sweat glands when we're sympathetically activated? Well, our body is preparing to either run or fight. Therefore, it anticipates a lot of heat generation. So sweat gland activation preemptively starts to cool the body down. We increase the heart rate so that we can deliver oxygen and nutrients to our cells quicker. We increase our respiratory rate and our respiratory passageways. We increase the diameter so that, one, oxygen can be brought in at a faster pace, and then the body could also expel carbon dioxide at a quicker pace. We activate our energy reserves so that our muscles have a proper substrate in order to metabolize and generate ATP. We do not need digestion or urinary or reproduction systems to function, so we kind of shut those down and divert that energy to the systems that require energy during sympathetic activation. We increase our metabolic rate so that we can generate ATP more rapidly. And then we have a heightened mental alertness so that if we're fighting or running, we're mentally alert alert and acute so that we can carry out those activities. Here's an image that just looks at both the noticeable and the hidden effects of sympathetic activation. Let's just note a few. The pupils are going to dilate to allow more light in so that you can see more clearly. We've mentioned heart pumps quicker, the sweating begins, breathing. We may enter into a hyperventilation state in which we're breathing very quickly. Hidden effects, we get the release of adrenaline, and we'll talk more about that later. Blood pressure rises. The liver is going to release glucose to provide a substrate for muscles to metabolize. Your digestion slows, your sphincters close, then relax. So there's a lot of noticeable effects as well as hidden effects, but this should make sense. If you enter into a fight or flight mode, you should be able to come up with a short list of anatomical responses and physiological responses. The parasympathetic, again, is rest and digest, or rest and repose, as your textbook states. It's going to stimulate visceral activity. Visceral, you should think organ. So digestion and urine production and reproduction, those are all going to be stimulated. During parasympathetic activation, we conserve energy and we promote sedentary activities so that the body can store up the substrates needed for metabolism. Decreased overall metabolic rate, heart rate, blood pressure, increased salivary and digestive gland secretions so that the body can focus on digestion. Increased motility and blood flow to the digestive tract. Motility is movement within. So again, the digestive tract is just a tube that goes from mouth to anus, and the movement through that allows nutrients to be absorbed and whatnot. So increasing the motility or the movement or the contraction of the smooth muscle within the digestive tract is going to help move that along faster. And then lastly, urination and defecation is stimulated. Often students ask if urination and defecation are stimulated under parasympathetic, then why do some people urinate on themselves or defecate on themselves during times of stress or sympathetic activation? And the answer is simple. If you urinate or defecate on yourself during sympathetic activation, during fight or flight mode, it's largely because the bladder is full or the rectum is already full, and sympathetic activation causes muscles to tense, and as your abdominal muscles tense, it increases the pressure, and if your bladder's already full, that pressure may be just enough to push the urine out. So while urination and defecation stimulation tends to be ignored during sympathetic activation, if those items are already there, if the bladder's full or the rectum is full, then it could lead to someone urinating or defecating on themselves during times of sympathetic activation.